Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. In this episode of Music Den, I have another album spotlight for you. This is the debut solo release from Roland Orzabal called Tomcats Screaming Outside. Roland Orzabal, lead guitarist, co-lead vocalist, multi-instrumentalist for Tears for Fears. Tomcats Screaming Outside was to be the follow-up release to Raul and the Kings of Spain from 1995 that was released on Epic Records. However, due to the fact that Orzabal and Kurt Smith had reunited in 2000 and decided to work on new material as Tears for Fears, the decision was made to release Tomcat Screaming Outside as a solo album. Now, the album was produced by Roland Orzabal and Alan Griffiths. This would be the last time that the pair would work together. Alan Griffiths also worked with Orzabal on Raul and the Kings of Spain and Elemental from 1993. The album was released in the UK on Eagle Records and in the US on Gold Circle Records, has a playing time of 54 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, in terms of release dates, it was released in different territories at different times. In 2001, it was released on March 26th in Germany, on April 2nd in the UK, and unfortunately on September 11th in the US. Now, in terms of musical styles, as I said at the top, this was to be the follow-up release to Raul and the Kings of Spain. Now, if anyone out there is familiar with Raul and the Kings of Spain, fantastic album, 12 tracks on the album, very eclectic album indeed, but Raul and the Kings of Spain was more of a guitar-oriented album with songs like Sorry and Humdrum and Humble from the album. Great album. And also Sketches of Pain, which had more of a flamenco Spanish acoustic guitar feel. So, reading up on this album, it said that it was categorized as alt rock, drum and bass, and down tempo, also ambient. Upon listening to the album quite a few times, I do hear slight elements of ambient music on it, like influence. Not a lot. I do hear the alt rock influence and drum and bass and also down tempo, more so than ambient, but I'll go through the album with you. Performing on the album, you have a core of four musicians. You have, according to my notes, you have Roland Orzabal on vocals, keyboards, programming, and guitars, Alan Griffiths on keyboards, programming, and guitars, David Sutton on bass, sorry, and Nick DiVigilio on drums. Nick DiVigilio, multi-instrumentalist, primarily drummer, known for his work with Spock's Beard. He does a fantastic job on this album. Really, really good. Now there are 12 tracks in total. All eight were co-written by Roland Orzabal and Alan Griffiths. Roland Orzabal wrote four tracks on his own. There were two singles released from the album, Low Life and For the Love of Cain. Now, I'll go through this album with you. Now, for me, I'm surprised that I haven't heard of this album before now. Um, it, this should have been a hit. Okay, it should have been bigger than what it was. It starts off with the track "Ticket to the World." Uh, in my notes, I have here trip hop live drum pattern, which it is. Fantastic drumming from Nick DiVigilio on this. Droning synths on the intro, thick guitar chords, heavy guitar chords on this. And I should say most of the tracks range in length from 3 minutes and change to 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So pretty lengthy album at 54 minutes and 35 seconds. Next up on the album is the lead-off single Low Life. Um, Fantastic track, a dreamy synth intro in my notes here, melodic guitar chords, very rhythmic in terms of the drum pattern, and a lot of heavy guitar on the choruses. Okay, a lot of sort of I don't want to say crashing guitar chords, but the guitars when they are used in terms of solos are very heavy, very harmonic. Okay. Up next is a track called Hypnoculture. This is one of the tracks uh, solely written by Roland Orzabal. In my notes, I have here ass shaking bass on this track, really rhythmic, really bottom heavy on the bass, and has a lot of sampled vocals. And when you hear it, you'll almost feel like you're walking through like a market fair in like a place like Marrakesh, right? Very, very atmospheric, very sort of yeah, atmospheric is the only way I can describe it. And uh Orzabal's vocals do not come in until around the 2 minute and 3 second mark. Okay. But prior to that, the bass and drums take over and they really carry you along. It is a heavy ass shaking track, and it clocks in at 3 minutes and 11 seconds. After Hypnoculture comes a track, Bullets for Brains. Sorry, very atmospheric synths on this track. Great drum pattern on this. And what I like about uh, Roland's vocals on this album, he can be really soft and sort of really emotive, but when he needs to and when he wants to, he can come in really strong on the vocals, usually on the choruses. And Bullets for Brains is no different than that. Strong soaring vocals on the choruses. The next track is the second single from the album, For the Love of Cain. In my notes, I have you really relaxed guitar intro, very melodic, strong guitar presence again on the choruses. And this track specifically, his vocal delivery, he sounds like someone who is basically lost emotionally and is feeling very isolated, and he's looking for someone that he can connect with, not necessarily romantically, but more on a um, intellectual level. Someone to give him a sign that he's not alone in the world, and that's what he's feeling at this point in this track. And you know what? I think on some level, all of us have been there at some point in time. After For the Love of Cain comes Under Ether, six track, clocking in at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Fantastic track. In my notes, simmering synth intro, repetitive rhythm guitar chords that come in, um, and has a kind of an ominous, like brooding feeling, like something is about to happen. The only phrase I can think of is something wicked this way comes. Forgive me for quoting Ray Bradbury, but this track has that feel. And the track builds as it goes along, but it never really, how can I put this? It never really explodes. It never really sort of comes out like boom. There's always sort of like an underlying threat in the music, right? And the guitars that play, the repetitive guitar line that plays, it has a Middle Eastern feel to it, you know. Fantastic. This should have been one of the singles released from the album. It's quite a dark album in spots, but very sort of dreamy in others. Um, Track 7 after Under Ether is a track called Day by Day by Day by Day. Okay. This is where a lot of the trip hop influence comes in. Trip hop feel in terms of the rhythm arrangement, but with strings, symphonic strings that come in. And again, soaring vocals on this track from Roland Orzabal, especially on the choruses. Um, Track 8 is a track called Dandelion, and it's another 3 minute and change track, very short. But in my notes, I have here heavy rhythm guitar passages on this track, and really soaring vocals on the choruses. What I like about Roland's vocal delivery, again, he can be really soft and really sort of sweet and emotional, but when he needs to be, he can just cut right through and just give you a really soaring vocal. and, sort of just make his presence really known on the track. Just amazing, amazing. After Dandelion is a track called Hey Andy. Again, in my notes, I have your major hip hop track, very atmospheric synths. Um, and that track segues into track 10 called Kill Love. Okay, forgive the title. But in my notes, I have your repetitive synth intro that was programmed. Also, really calm piano chords that sort of kind of like a counter melody to what's going on with the counterpart, sorry, to what's going on with the synth intro. Okay. And again, heavy trip hop drum pattern on this. And again, really strong vocals from Orzabal on this track. Basically, it's a track about how, in his mind, love is hopeless and that you can't really depend on anyone or anything. Again, very happy track, quote unquote. Sarcastically meant, of course. Track 11 is another trip hop inspired track called Snowdrop. Fantastic. Again, trip hop drum pattern, swirling synths, and again, really good, strong vocals from Roland Orzabal on this track. Track 12, the final track on the album, is one called Maybe Our Days Are Numbered. Okay. I do sense a bit of a theme going on here near the end of the album. Rhythmic drum pattern, atmospheric synths on this track, but he does have a more of a gentle vocal approach on this track than the other tracks that came before, the last uh, three tracks that came before. Very gentle, very emotive, but brilliant, brilliant. This album, I do believe it was in Sounds, um, was the review from Sounds magazine was solo album or not. This was the Lost Tears for Fears album. Actually, the best Tears for Fears album in the past decade. And upon listening to this album, I would agree. It is strong. It is emotional. It is atmospheric. You can put this album on and just sit back, close your eyes, and again, you're on a journey with this album, okay? Um, a lot of keyboard oriented pieces of music, but again, the human element is still in there with the vocals and the drumming from Nick DiVigilio. Fantastic. I tried to look up this album on Amazon. It's no longer available. And if you can find it, um, it's going for around $30 on Discogs. So please check this album out. If you have it, please let me know in the comments down below what you know of this album, what you feel about this album, if you like it, if you don't like it. And yeah, again, there are no right or wrong answers, just opinion, right? So that's it for now. I have more shows coming up in the future. I have some ideas kicking around in the can up here, but I'm still working out the plans of those episodes. So please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. And that's it for now. I will see you soon with another video. Please look after yourselves and one another. Um, and, as long as you guys are having a good day, that's what's important. All right. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.